Hello everyone and welcome to Top 5 Wrestling Animations of the Week, Week 69. A very big week this week. There was loads and loads of animations for me to watch. Loads of great ones from some of the smaller channels as well. Unfortunately I can't feature them all, but I really do suggest that you all go out and watch as much animation from this week as you can, because there was loads and loads of great animations. So without further ado, we'll get into my honourable mentions this week, and that is SuplexNetwork with his AA. BEW with his Jericho vs. Rhodes, and CEW with his German suplex. Now getting into my top 5 this week, in 5th place we have ARW with his Styles vs. Taker. So I wasn't a fan of the promo being longer than the match, and I think there was too many replays throughout. But really that's the only bad things about this. Other than that, the moves were really nice and smooth. There were some creative spots in here. The Fosbury flop into the crowd was done really well. I did think the tombstone to finish it could have used a little bit of reaction, or maybe the movement into crossing the arms for the pin like Taker does. But overall it was a really nice match, very good animation throughout. Number 4 this week we have LMS with his Styling DDT. So this started really nicely, it was really smooth and the flip motion and speed was really good until halfway through the flip, where Styles suddenly landed way too fast. It was like the flip sped up in the second half, which it does do slightly but not as much as happened in this animation. The string was also super noticeable, especially on the second camera angle, but the impact and reaction were solid however, although I did think they were slightly fidgety. Third place this week we have WZW with his fairy tale ending. This was super smooth and it had nice realism, but Finn held him up way too long for me. The jump looked really good however, as did the impact. However, there was a lack of reaction, and after viewing it more, Zayn was more stiff throughout than I initially noticed. So yeah, I never mentioned that on the forum because I didn't notice it the first couple of times I watched it, but watching it multiple more times for this I did. However, still a great animation. Second place this week is once again WZW with his corkscrew shooting star press. So this was super smooth as always, the movements were great and super realistic. The biggest issue was that the corkscrew was floaty and maybe slightly slow. I think a bit of a speed up on only the rotation may have helped that a little bit. The reaction was okay, but I did think it was a little tiny bit fidgety. Apart from the floatiness however, this was a super realistic animation. First place this week is ARW with his fairy tale ending. So this was really smooth with decent joint movements. The jump looked solid, but the fall into the ropes was awkward. The impact and reaction were both really good, but the whole thing was slightly fidgety throughout. Obviously the joint movements being exaggerated and the whole thing kind of having a cartoony feel, that's just your style, but everyone knows I'm much more of a realism fan. However, this is still great, does not take away from your talent in animation whatsoever. That is just my preferred style. I also think the camera angle here was a bad choice though, since the actual move, like the actual fairy tale ending, was just awkwardly on the edge of the screen. But again, these are things that don't take away from your talent in animation, they're just stylistic choices that I personally am not a fan of. Great job this week. And now, before we take a look at the leaderboard this week, I do have some interesting news about the leaderboard, and that is that this week it did come out that WZW was in fact ECW Animations, the channel that was around not too long ago. We all thought it, but I don't believe it was confirmed until now. So I have transferred the points from ECW Animations, which was 8 points, to WZW, as it doesn't make any sense to me for WZW and ECW to have two separate points when it's the same guy. Like if LKS posted on his main channel and I put points to him, then he posted on his second channel, I would still give the points to one guy. I wouldn't have two separate placements, if that makes sense. So he has had those points plus the points from this week. So getting into the top 5, it is now Myqee in 5th place, still on 43 points. LKS still in 4th place on 50 points. SteakTheGuy still on 77 points in 3rd place. Second place, still WZW Animations, but he is now on 107 points after a big week for him. And in first place, still LMS on 120 points. So those two are getting even closer now due to the points being transferred, and also a big week for both. They were both on the top 5 once again. I think it's been a long time since they weren't on the top 5 because they're just two of the absolute best out there just now. So going to make the rest of the year very interesting indeed. But for this week, that does it here, so thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.